Hello everyone, this is the Shitcoin Detective, and today let's take a look at Snowdog, the Rebase tokens in general. I'm not going to go into details how Rebase tokens and these would work, because if you wanted to know more about it, there is plenty of articles. But basically what they do is they have a treasury, right, where people are putting usually stable coins, and in exchange they get a token, and this token they can stake it, and the staking APY is usually quite high, meaning that it incentivizes people to hold this tokens, and they have a game theory that if everyone is holding, then everything will be all right. Now with this Snowdog token, right, this is their Twitter, they put this entirely upside down because basically what they did, they flipped this entirely on its head, because the staking will only happen for a few days, right? If we go to their website, we can see here that from day 1 to day 5 you can do minting, which is you do that when you deposit into the treasury your stable coins, you get the token at a discount, and then you stake. And at day 8, here they write it here, all assets from the treasury are swapped from the MIM, which is automated market maker or something like that. So, and then that's supposed to do a massive buyback, and this means, in layman terms, that at the 8th day there will be a bank run for this token, because at the 8th day you cannot stake anymore, so the token is not going to generate income. So the only way you can at that point get money for your token is if you sell it. So there will be a bank run, and that happened about 21 hours ago. So if you look at the price of the Snowdog token, here we can see it started at $6,000. It's quite expensive, these tokens. It's a fork of Olympus DAO. You know, if you want to learn about Rebase tokens, this is the place where you should start, because the ones that we are seeing are typically fork of this token. And the way this is set up, that the price of the token, it will reach around $1,000, but that doesn't mean that you will make money on this. And this token is an exact, it's an exact reason you should be aware of these tokens and what could happen with it. So with this price action, I think what happened is that the original price that they introduced it into the market was quite high, meaning that the developers were selling this token at at a higher price than what the token was actually worth, what the stable token price would be, which meant that when they sold this token and they originally, then they made a profit selling the tokens, I believe. I can't find any information tracing back this. That wasn't my focus of my investigation. Now, this is the Avascan Explorer, which, yeah, I'm going to be honest, you guys, with here, it's garbage. It's unusable. No information can be extracted from this, which is useful for doing your own research. If you actually have to use that, then there is something called Snowtrace, which seems to be the Ether scan for the AVAX network. So yeah, these are the top holders that we are looking at. I wanted to see there is about 11,000 people bought this token, and not like they spent a serious amount of money on it, right? So these are contractual assets, but for example, this guy got 2,000 of these Snowdog tokens, or has 2,000 of these Snowdog tokens. even though that they yeah, what I want to do is basically saying that people spend serious amount of money buying these tokens, and in the meantime they released a Medium article, Snowbank, which is apparently they're affiliated or it's the same developers or something. They were saying, and this is their information, that they were very upfront of what's going to happen, and everyone was expecting this. And that this was a game, and you should you should have expected this. Now, I can tell you that even I'm looking at Rebase tokens, and some of the aspects there don't make sense to me, and it's not very clear what keeps up the price at a certain level. I understand that the minting will be there, and the APRs are insanely high, and I think that's the reason why they are not very trustworthy. Whenever you are seeing a very high APR, and for this, you know, for this Snowdog, it was like in the billions of percentages of APR. It's just insane what it was. So yeah, they are claiming that only 7% of the supply holders will benefit at price superior to the market price before buyback. So 93% of you guys are out of money, and 7% of people made money on this, because it was a bank run, right? It's people put in money, people took out money, some people made money, but right now the treasury is almost empty, right? There is something like, yeah, something like 70,000. Yes, this is the backing bear Snowdog is $1, and there is a total supply of 75,000. So that's how much is in the treasury left. The price is still $116, but basically, if everyone sells, this is what's left. This is the remaining amount of money that can be extracted from the token. And since there is no reason to hold this token anymore, because it's not going to generate staking rewards, the remaining people have to settle for this amount of money. Whoever sells first gets more money. And that's, you know, what's the game theory there? Sell first. Now, it was not very clear for me what was exactly happening. So some people told me that basically what was happening is that that they released a new exchange, basically, and they moved the entire treasury to the new exchange. It was password locked, or it was, you know, you had to solve a mathematical, you know, like a CAPTCHA, basically, right? So that robots cannot sell, and this wasn't functional at the beginning. So I spent a half an hour trying to figure out who sold it here on Gecko terminal. It's as I said, I'm not very familiar with the Avalanche network. It was it seems to be an equivalent of PooCoin, but for example, it lacks a lot of features. For example, on PooCoin, I can just list who was the biggest sellers, and it will just list it for me, and that's not available here. So I was trying to find the biggest sellers and everything, but then I basically realized how to track down, for example, the first seller for this token. So what I found on this page is the LP token pair address, and you have to take this address, and that's the yeah, Joe token. Apparently the exchange here is somehow called Joe. This is the exchange. So that it was normally traded on. It also has a price indicator here, which is really poor. You should really work on this because it's completely unusable, to be honest. So I was looking at the LP token, and basically I found the part where they removed all the liquidity and moved it to the other exchange, right? When they moved the treasury. And this is it. This is the address of the new treasury, right? Meaning that about 22 hours ago, they created a new contract. This was when they moved all the treasury to the new exchange. So let's take a look at this transaction. I have it open, okay. So they moved 741 Snowdog and 51 million magic internet money, which is, it's a stable coin on AVAX, I believe, because the price of the token is exactly $1, so must be something like that. Once again, I'm sorry, I'm usually not operating on this network, but this is basically the first transaction after the contract creation. We can assure that this was movement of the treasury. It also coincides with the amount of money that people were talking about, how much was in the treasury. So what we can see here is 22 hours and 56 minutes ago, they created this contract, ended liquidity, and then 2 minutes later, there is a lot of failed transactions, which is people trying to exchange their tokens on this new exchange, right? Swap exact tokens for tokens. So you see all of these transactions are failing, right? I don't know exactly why. When I look at it, it just says error occurred during the contract execution, which typically means that yeah, some of this error message can be overwritten by the contract. I have to take a look at this. I'm going to do that off camera and maybe I will find something there. But it's possible that it's in the new contract information, there is some code which prevents certain people from selling it, or, you know, you can whitelist people and backlist people, or, you know, something like that. I will take a look at it for a moment, but I wanted to record this first, and, you know. So these transactions are failing. So a bunch of people tried to exchange their tokens and they failed. And then that happened, you know, swap, fail for the first 2 pages. Look, take a note of these timelines, by the way. Here we are at 2 minutes after the contract was created, right? And when you see here a red error marker, that means that the transaction failed. And then here, suddenly, 5 minutes into the contract creation, the transaction went through. So this is our first seller. Yeah, I have it open, but so this is the first seller, right? Here is his wallet address. If anyone is interested, tracking down that, it's here. Pause the video and you can take a look at it and verify the information that I'm showing here. Please do that, because once again, I might be wrong. I don't think I am at this point, but what I can see here is someone sold 187 Snowdog and made $10 million doing that. And I even take a look at this wallet, because you know, how much money did they invest, right? To get this $10 million. And when we look at the ERC transactions, you can see basically that this wallet was created about 2 days ago. And the first thing that we can see here is they transferred in 46 Ethereum, and And then they exchanged basically 45 Ethereum to Snowdog, so they bought 9 Snowdog. And then they built another 9 and another 9 and another 9 and so on. So they did buy a few. However, they were the first one who was able to selling $10 million. So they transferred in. And what are these transactions? Buying Snowdog for $10,000, yes. Well, I wanted to take a look at this one. So they spent $180,000 or thereabouts buying Snowdog and walked away with 10 million. This is just one of the wallets who benefited from this, who were able to sell. There are others. All of them is listed on this page after the red markers. If you are interested, the second wallet was able to walk away with 7 million. So, you know, where did your money go? Well, you just donated it to these people. Third transaction. It was someone else with $1,000. So the issue with these Rebase tokens is that the APR is so high that if a whale sells, the entire thing just falls apart. I understand the game theory. I understand that, you know, you people think that everyone is a small fish and we keep together and then everything will be all right at the end. However, if a whale jumps in and sells for $10 million when the treasury is $50 million, things fall apart very, very quickly. So yeah, I think that's the video. I have one thing I wanted to show you because this one is really concerning to me. Some people know that I like Harmony Network and everything. Harmony Network has a Rebase token right now, which is, you know, it's going very good and everything. This is a Medium article released by the Snowbank team, and you know, where they explain that how this bank run happened and everything. The last word of this article says WAGMI, which is we all gonna make it. However, this is the name of the token which is operating on the Harmony Network. I don't know what sort of you know, conclusion to draw with this, but to end your article on this, is this intentional? Are we supposed to, like, I don't know what to think about this. I don't like it, to be honest. It's just explaining, oh yeah, sorry, you are all out of money. And this. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I was able to show some lights on what's happening there. It's also new for me. Yeah, this network, AWAX, if you're using it, please write the comments what you like about it and why I should be taking more attention to it. When I was researching this, I also saw a rugpull of a token, which is, yeah, it's also interesting. Probably I should pay more attention to this because a lot of people are having money on it and other scams are happening. So this has been the Shitcoin Detective. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like and maybe consider subscribing to my channel. And I forgot to take a look at the contract, didn't I? All right, the first thing that I'm seeing is that when you want to swap the token, then the swapping function takes a lot of variables. So you have things that are not very usual. One is the challenge key, which could be one of the things that they were mentioning. So here's a random Uniswap token. As you can see, there is a total of 4 variables that you have to put in when you're calling the swap function. And this one Actually, let's take a look at the same function, which is probably called I've seen it called underscore swap. Not here, come on. Yeah, that's probably not, that's probably an internal function, so you have to call one of these when you are trying to swap. That's the first thing that I'm seeing. Let's look at one of the failed transactions and the succeeding transactions. What I can see is that they weren't calling the same function, basically. So, as you can see here, this is a transaction that succeeded, and the owner of the token, it sold for $10 million. He was calling swap tokens for tokens. And the other transactions, swap exact tokens for tokens. And yeah, the one which was succeeding had this extra variable called challenge key, which is apparently this. Yeah, there is how many? 8 variables. Sorry, it is a total of 9. And here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the address is it's an array, so there might be multiple variables there. Solidity is not easy, guys. But that's what I'm seeing. Basically, all these transactions are called, like, let's take a look at this one. All these transactions were calling, yeah, it is calling the swap exact tokens for tokens, and the succeeding transactions were calling, yeah, I already looked at this one. Let's look at another one. $68,000. Challenge key. So I've been looking at the code of the of the token, this token for a while, and I don't see any sort of checking on the challenge key. It is copied to a variable. We look at here the challenge key. Challenge key. It's not like this is a swap function. It's not used. It's passed to another function, and it's used only at one point. It's somehow copied to a memory. I'm not sure exactly how that works. This one, path with challenge key, path.length equals address challenge key. Don't know what this means. It looks to me like there is a heap, or some sort of computing heap or stack. It's also called stack in some cases, that is used here. And but there is no assertion, or there is no require. Solidity has a require. If a transaction can fail if the require function code inside it is invalid. So you can say that, oh, if you want to swap more tokens than how many tokens you have, then the transaction should fail. Which makes sense. If I have 2 BUSD and I want to swap 3, then I shouldn't be able to do that. There is no checking on it. So the only thing that happened with the transactions that succeeded is they called an entirely new function, not the one which was failing. So not the swap exact tokens for tokens. If we search for this in the contract, yeah, how is this even possible? So the swap exact tokens for tokens takes a bunch of variables, including the challenge key. And here they were calling it without it. So what does that mean? Does that mean that they were calling a function with the wrong amount of variables and that's why it was failing? Maybe. Okay, so I looked at a few of these transactions that were succeeding and were called with the challenge key, and I can tell you that all of them had the same challenge key called. So you see this this is the challenge key, the last variable. All of them starts with 130, which is so only those swap functions were succeeding. So the question is, what were the other people's calling? So were they all on the website and were trying to call a wrong function? Some people try to swap through here. In theory, and in theory, in practice as well, you can just go here and Snowtrace, input this data by hand, and click here. You have your wallet connected, and the swap would go through. So the question is, did people have access to this challenge key, which is, it's basically a password. The password seems to be exactly the same for each and every person. And judging by the fact that people were up until a certain point, people's transactions were failing, and then suddenly a lot of them went through. And then even after, there were a few people who had trouble swapping, and when I look at the transaction, they're basically calling the function with the wrong set of variables. I have to assume that the website that they uploaded was calling this function wrong, and they somehow fixed it. So this is, I will not be able to see it on the code here. It will be on the swapping website. I will take a look at that in a minute. But basically, it is possible that on the back end, front end, whatever end on the website, they were calling the wrong function with the wrong set of variables, and that's why the swaps failed, and some other people swapped went through because they were like they fixed the website in the meantime. So I really don't like this. This is the Twitter account where they were saying that, are you ready? It's time to play. Buyback will happen in the next 60 minutes. Yeah, I'm sure the people who lost $10 million felt like this was a play, you know, and this funny Snowdog will just, you know, I'm a little bit angry, I'm sorry, excuse me for a moment. So, taking one step back and reading through this Reddit thread, Twitter, actually, I have to congratulate Gagan, maybe that's his name, because I completely went through the entire video and didn't realize that this is a decentralized DAO, and it's a Rebase token, and it was supposed to do a buyback mechanism, and they didn't do that at all. The treasury wasn't used to buy back tokens. The treasury was used completely to create a new liquidity pool. So this wasn't a buyback. It was they took the treasury and put it up for sale against the token that they created, which goes against everything that you were supposed to do with this sort of excuse for the firework. So it goes against everything that was supposed to be happening with this token. The treasury was supposed to be used to buy back tokens. Instead, they moved it to a new liquidity pool and put the rest of the Snowdog tokens for sale. So you've been scammed. This is not what the token was supposed to do. It's that's my final conclusion. You don't have to go into details why if people receive this secret code for the trading or not. The developers did something that they didn't promise will happen. So this has been a Shitcoin Detective. I hope you enjoyed this long video. Take care, everyone.